Thanks. Yeah. So hi Nishtha, and a warm welcome to you on this show. So this is incidentally the first of this conversation, that we are having in these series of kind of conversations called Surfing with the Storm. And essentially, this is about, I think, a lot of us face different challenges in the world. And even within the foundation, that we run to support patients going through a bone marrow transplant or a journey of cancer, there are different kinds of kind of conversations that happen around, why me, grief, loss, then hope, faith, and all of that. And we thought rather than just kind of, looking at just learning from one source, how would it be if we kind of really looked around the universe around us and see, different situations where people are placed and how they're able to navigate through this journey and then come out and start kind of living and loving again. And so this conversation is essentially all about that. And it's about how, how like an, like a trained surfer, somebody who would really wade through the storm with so much equanimity, balance, awareness, calm, poise, balance, and be able to surf through the storm to come back safely to the shore. So I think this journey is really try and understanding what goes through this process in the process of being aware, and maybe some of the pockets of wisdom that open up during this time. So it's essentially just an experiment to see if we can tap into those pockets of wisdom that can be helpful across different spectrum where people are going through challenging times in their own ways. So yeah, so welcome to this first edition, and I'm so happy, Nishtha, we have you on the show. You've had a fantastic journey, and obviously we'll talk about it. But just to have you on the show, is just sheer pleasure, and I think we're just so honored to have you. Yeah.
Thank you to really invite me like this, and this is precious. So thank you, really. And I'm so happy I'm here. It's a big step for me also to be really talking like this about, I've been sharing with people, but still it is a big step for me. And I'm glad it's with you. So yeah, thank you.
No, I think the honor is ours, and really, just feel like that we are all in a circle of friends, and this sharing is so, it's just happening in its own organic kind of way, and just maybe, just remain who we are during this process and see what comes out for us. So yeah, so let's dive straight into the conversation, and just why don't you give us a little bit of background about how did you grow up and your journey kind of till the time that you came to be.
No, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, my childhood. So I was born in Chandigarh. My dad was in the Air Force, and so it took us to a few places. Born in Chandigarh, then, but I don't have many memories from that time. It was just things that my parents share. But after that we were in Assam. I do have a lot of memories of Assam. After Assam, my dad basically took a voluntary retirement, and he wanted to, be closer to our native place, closer to family. And so we moved to Pune, and Pune has a special place in my heart, of course, growing up there. But of course, this transition from, being in a community kind of a space in the Air Force campus to really move out and be in, the civilian world, was a bit of a transition. It was a little difficult for me, where, as a child, I was trying to find connection, bonding, trying to belong somewhere, which was, took some time for me. However, the good part about moving back, moving to Pune was
Mm-hmm.
also this, that, like I said, we were closer to our native place, and that gave me an opportunity to visit often to, in my vacations actually, to Ratnagiri, near
Wow.
Chippur, basically. Uh, yeah, in the Sayadri Mountains, basically.
Right, right.
Uh, and that basically also gave me an opportunity to, form a connection with nature, because I got that opportunity to spend time in the mountains there in the
Mm-hmm.
Sahyadris. And
Mm-hmm.
uh, that was like, where um, this forming connection, where I was trying and work, like, finding difficulty forming connection in the human world. The connection came very naturally in the natural world somehow, I don't know. And there was a natural attraction towards trees and stones, and of course stones, and that has grown only more and more through years. Stones, for example, they just call me, I collect them, I bring them home. I find them to be uh, precious beings. So I developed connection with
Yeah.
nature there. Then, yeah, like I said, I grew up in Pune. I did my schooling, college in Pune. I was also with my college, I was also learning German, where I met Rohit also. We became friends in Max Miller Bhavan. And also then, when it was time for me to decide what next, what do I pursue further, German attracted me. I did my MA in Delhi, and the first goal after that was, of course, like, getting a job and
Mm-hmm.
making some money, making a life. And it so happened that, I got an opportunity to work with Lufthansa.
Mm-hmm.
As a flight attendant, I worked for a couple of years, which I knew I wouldn't continue for long, but it had its perks. Travel was something that I was looking forward to. Also, knowing the language, I wanted to see the country, so I got to do that. Very soon, we got married, and then a couple of years, Vivand came along. And then I was very sure that I'm not going to fly anymore. But again, there was, a blessing that came my way, and I could very easily move from a flying job to a ground job, which was very, very fulfilling for me. I was in the corporate setting for almost more than 10 years. But around, towards the end of 10 years, there was also parallelly another journey that was happening for both me and Rohit. We were exploring a lot of questions, and there was a search, as to, okay, we had this list of things we wanted to do: make
Mm-hmm.
money, travel, uh, get a house, get a car, whatever, all that. The list is
Yeah.
all done, and we have everything ticked off. So now what? Like, is this all to life, or is there something more? And what is it, if at all? And
Mm-hmm.
so the exploration was happening in that. And at the same time, Rohit had already found his passion of paragliding. And I was, I didn't know what I wanted really. And the only thing what made sense was just, take a break, and then see where and what happens. Rohit completely supported me into, like, really take the leap and just do it. And you will know that there is so much more
Wow.
beautiful things waiting.
Mm-hmm.
And it was true, like, I took that break, that one whole year. I think I just was engaging into creative expression, just going back to hobbies, things that I was not able to do during my working life, and going back to painting, some art, craft, things that I had collected through all those years, but I wasn't able to use them. I got an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to do that. what happened in that process was that I realized that, this creative expression of whatever way that was, was healing in its own way, was helping me connect to myself in a much better way, was
Right.
giving expression to things that I was probably not expressing. And then there was a realization that, this is what I would like to do. And I didn't know how. But at the same time, my very, very dear friend Vasvi, who is also my partner in Abhyantar, she was also going through a similar journey. And she, told me about expressive arts therapy. And we just we did our diploma in expressive arts therapy. And
Wow.
soon we started our work with Abhyantar. And around that same time, like I mentioned, Rohit was already on his own search. And for him, I think he was getting more and more clear that he wanted to be closer as much as possible to nature. Um, Really living a very, very natural life, that whatever that could mean. He didn't probably have an idea at that point, but it kept developing as the time went by. And it came to this, that good food, good air, good water, which according to him are our birthright. And he was of the opinion that we should claim it. If we are in the position to do this, then why are we not doing it? So
Interesting.
in the big yeah so in the beginning, for me, I really did not have a very I didn't have much clarity about what this really would mean, and what it is really that he's talking about. But I definitely knew that if he's so passionate about something, then it is definitely, worth trying, and at least, giving it a try was something that was calling me. And that is how I came into this. And we both got very, very, very lucky, and really blessed to have two wonderful souls, Anshul and Anailika, who were also running a farm here in Beer. And they actually helped us to go through this whole process of, making the mud house, and really designing the farm, and how to go about all this. And so the journey started. And
Yeah.
when I started working on the farm, with this attitude of, I'm just trying, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just going to try this.
So we'll come back to
And
that in a second, Nishtha.
okay, all right.
In terms of your experience on the farm, because I think that's something that everybody would like to hear in kind of detail. But just before that, like we sense, this amazing spirit about Rohit. So in very short, can you just use adjectives and describe what Rohit means to you, and how he was like? Who is Rohit? If you had to kind of share with us.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I don't know if I can keep it very short. I'm going to try.
Sure.
If I start talking about Rohit, I can go for hours. I know that, but okay, let's keep it as short as possible.
Okay.
So he is a big, 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 generous, loving heart,
Mm-hmm.
uh, who had this knack of being in flow, really, and really finding joy in everything that he did. Who And because of that flow that he could be in, he also could, fiercely, passionately, fearlessly really follow his heart, and live life to the fullest every moment, and each and every moment, basically. And the most important actually that I would like to share is also his approach towards life was also this, that every day is a new learning, every day is an
Mhm.
experience. And our job as human beings here on earth is really, because when we go from here, we don't take any material. He was very clear about that. So
Mhm.
what we take is only in this larger picture of the soul journey, is only what we are experiencing, and everything that we learn is only something that we are going to carry with us. So yeah, that is. And somebody who would, make the toughest situation, like, just so easy. And yeah, so yeah, I
Wow.
think.
Wow. No, that's so amazing to hear about somebody who's so full of life. And I spoke to a few friends who had also kind of met him before, and he would just kind of keep riding on his Enfield and move from places to places, and he would stop by at any chai stall, make friends with anybody on the way, and just this whole just living life on the edge kind of was so beautiful that I kind of learned to him. But also that kind of brings a bigger question in terms of you were with the flow in this whole process, moving to be moved a beautiful mud house, you build everything, you had Vivan, and obviously two lovely pets by your side, you know and then suddenly life just takes like a huge turn, right? When yeah, so it is kind of interesting when I was talking to you earlier about how he kind of he goes on this solo paragliding journey one day, and and like many other times he's kind of done that before, been there in that space, but just that day happened to be the day that would like really change a lot of things. So I just want to when you heard that he's probably not come back and the whole search instinct kind of started, what was really going through your head when you heard, or maybe didn't hear from him for kind of a while? What was really going through that in your space? It's a so I know it's a very very tough situation, and sorry to ask, but I think people need to understand and learn from this thing. Okay, what goes into that process of understanding? And it took 5 months, right, before we kind of recovered
Yeah.
his remains. So what was going through your heart in that space during that time? It must have been like, I don't know what, but yes, can you share as much as you can? I won't obviously kind of this thing, but just whatever comes to you in this moment in terms of what was happening during that time.
So so first of all, the evening that he didn't come back, and we knew that there was something wrong. And um, my immediate feeling in that moment was not of fear, or I was not scared that um, something bad has happened, or that he's in trouble. And of course, I mean, he is in trouble in that sense, but I had a complete sense of that he's fine. And uh, he will find his way back home, or we will find him. And it was just, the first thing for me was that, how do we get this done? And what are the, like, who do I reach out to? What are the arrangements that we need to do? We immediately started looking for choppers. We started looking at ways and means of how are we going to do this. Within few hours, we had arranged everything, all that was done, taken care of, and I was completely confident that we are finding him. It was very heartwarming, first of all, to see the kind of support that we were receiving in all sorts of ways. The way the community, the village, the government also, but above all, like, people who loved us and, just suddenly started pouring in, and the whole village was full of people looking for Rohit. And so, yeah, I mean, that was very humbling. That was very, very, um, that is also something that was giving me a lot of strength and supporting me through this process. Um, but as the days went by and that we were not able to locate him, um, there were all sorts of emotions, but somehow I kept receiving, I kept trying to connect with him through my meditations, and there were prayers happening, there were everything, all those things, everything that we could think about that we could do for Rohit. But I was also receiving somehow I was also receiving these messages which seemed to come from Rohit actually, that everything is fine. There is no space for fear. And there is nothing that is uh, out of place. Everything is the way it is to be. And this message of no space for fear, there is something much larger in play here, was that this kept coming to me. And every time I was connecting to Rohit, I had this sense of as if, he is also meditating, and he's doing fine. And it just felt, the whole experience was very, very spiritual. And it felt like likewise for him also, it is very, very spiritual what he's experiencing right now. Having said that, as the days were going by, there was also this feeling that, as if this is a test that we both are going through. And then when I look back at our life ever since we came to Beer, and also before that, the kind of intentions that we were setting for ourselves, for each other, for our life together, the 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 intentions that we were setting out were really intense intentions for our personal spiritual growth. And then it felt like, now they are, in a way, they have been answered. um, but then now I can't say what form, how is the universe going to answer those prayers. Then I don't have a control, he doesn't have a control on that. And the only thing that made sense was, you go through it, and since it seemed like a test, it was like, everything that we had learned together, everything that we had talked about, it just felt like I had to bring all that together and just, bring all that knowledge and see how that is going to reflect back into this journey of us together. And it just felt like whatever this journey that he was on and I am on, we just had to support each other through this. And that is exactly how I think I was going through it.
But that's kind of your and Rohit's journey in one sense, and I think that's very deep because you have this bonding and the spiritual understanding. But how is it for Vivan, and as a mother talking to a child about this, you know? So it's not easy, right, to kind of help him understand the situation and what it would mean for him.
Yeah.
What would you say to him, or how would you have a conversation around this with him? And so I'm, at one point I'm very curious, but I'm also humbled to say how even one would even start a conversation in kind of with their own child. So how was it with Vivan and kind of you during this phase?
um Tough actually. And there is no book that you refer to and see how do you handle this, or there is no like
Framework.
I yeah, and no experience of something like this at all. All I thought that my role or what I could do really in that place was, first of all, share everything with him. That is what I was called for. I felt that he should know, and because he's equally a part of, and that is how we've been with him, not just at this time, but even before this, we have been like this with him, where we have shared things with him and we've talked to him about important decisions that we've made in life, and
Mhm.
it has always been the three of us together. So I didn't want it to be any different at this time. I wanted it to continue in that same manner. Um,
No, but
it
typically, if you would
also,
see, uh, when about Indian, the kind of the community that we live in currently, we always tend to keep the child away from these conversations. And somehow, I think this entire mindset has been cultivated where, we don't know how they will take it and how they will process. So that is what kind of, like really where I'm asking you this question from, because he
yeah,
must be young, right? He's,
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
So
No, but I
so what's
also
your take
feel,
on that in terms of these conversations having with children?
um, but see, he was all he the situation was such that he was here, and I mean, I didn't find it right that he should hear things, or he should try and find it out on his on because he obviously is wanting to know what is happening, and he needs
Hmm.
to know what is happening. So I clearly thought that he needs to know whatever is happening, and that my main goal was to make him a part of it, because life is like this, that there are going to be these good turns and tough turns also, and I just felt responsible to also take him through that. And but then I was with him, and I also thought that um, I I was getting energy from him, and he was getting from me, and we both were sending it to Rohit. So we had to be, like a team there. Also, my conversations were mostly about reminding him of, the tough times, earlier tough times, whatever that we have gone through, and reminding him of, how we came out of it also, and assuring him that we are taken care of. There are people, and we are not alone, we are supported, and we are doing everything that we can in this time to make this possible, to find uh, and get through it back.
So I think this, yes, this is really touching, and thank you, Nishtha, for kind of sharing and with
So
this.
one
But
thing,
yeah,
one
sure.
more thing. I don't know whether this is right or wrong, or I can't say that, but I really was following something that I saw, or I understood uh, as the right thing to do in that moment. So following something that was coming from within, that felt like the right thing to do in that moment. Uh, yeah, I was, and yeah.
No, that's amazing, because I think very few people have the courage to really live who they are, even in that time, without this disparity. But more importantly, we hear these conversations about, say from this situation, so eventually you got to know that this has happened and kind of everything took place. But there is this conversation that people have about moving on, moving forward, leaving the past behind and kind of looking at a new life ahead and all this. Somehow I have not been able to come to terms with so many kind of like questions like this, and I've never quite understood this process. But what's your understanding of that? Is there even a possibility of these things happening ever, or is there a completely different paradigm that you wish to share on this front?
So likewise, I mean, very similar to you, I am also not very sure what that means, and I am still in the process of really completely, fully accepting what has happened, and I'm still processing a lot of things. There is still so much to look at and sit with and let things pass through me. But I think the most important, I think, is how I am approaching it is, what am I learning? If life has thrown something at me, there is a reason. There is a larger scheme working here. There is something beyond, much beyond our understanding. And then just staying with whatever is coming, letting it pass through me, and then whatever my learning from it, I am trying to take it along and probably move forward along with it, taking it
Along with
along
it.
with
So
it.
it's not either moving on or leaving it back, but moving forward with this.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay. And, during this period of what you are going through in terms of what I would call a churn of such intense emotions kind of coming up, and, you kind of sitting with them, processing them, being there, being present. What were some of the things that really stood out for you in this process, during this time?
Hmm. Hmm. That um, probably because we were already on this journey of working on the farm, looking at life from a very different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, I think the most important is that really stays with me is, or that has stayed with me, is really that there is a, 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 a larger understanding of life and living, death and dying, and also probably um, life beyond death, you know,
Mm.
and that there is beauty, there is beauty in life, and when you're here, how do you fully participate, has been my practice. How do I participate more? That has opened up for me, that how do I participate more and fully in life, and that life is beautiful. And so I am left with a lot of beauty, magic, miracles, more and more faith, more and more belief uh, in this, that life is beautiful, and it is so worth, living.
Yeah,
uh,
that's amazing to
at
hear from you,
at
especially,
far.
having kind of gone through this. And, I'm humbled to kind of hear this, and that somebody even finds beauty at the end of these processes. And so the question is, you have been an expressive art therapist, you live on the farm, you engage with soil in that space. What was your mode of kind of really, as we would say, coming back into life with so what has helped you in terms of these processes during this time? And
um so Neeraj, I really must say that I'm really blessed, and with why I say I'm blessed, because of course there are going to be tough times in life, but how wonderful if you already have the tools go through those tough times. You've been provided in that sense. So meditation, expressive arts, working on the farm, this connection with nature, um, just these small activities of sowing and harvesting and de-weeding, they have kind of helped me. They have helped me to, find that center, stay grounded, find, when I am not able to generate probably that strength from within, when I am tired, all I need to do is just go into an art exploration, or go to the farm, do something on the farm, and as if that wealth is there, and it's just that I just have to go there, and I have to find that there. Milo, Vivan, my friends, family, the community, the way they all have helped me through this. So all I can say is, like, I am always finding myself in this place of gratitude, um, finding myself surrounded with love, with care, um, which has helped me through this process.
Beautiful,
And
beautiful,
that's
Nishtha.
why I say I'm blessed.
No, really beautiful to hear this, and it's just amazing. So, if I were to kind of really put this question in terms of what was Nishtha before, through the process, and after this, if you had to really kind of compress and kind of share who was Nishtha before, through, and after, what would it be like?
I don't know. That's a tough one for me, because I haven't really processed this much, and I need time with that still.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's like, I don't still feel that I'm through this storm. It's still there. It's still raw, actually, and it's not over. But one thing that I feel is, I see this, that a lot of things that, um, small, now I'm saying that small little things of our regular life and our worries, somehow a lot of things just dropped for me, and it just was like, ki, how can I even be bothered about this? Like,
Hmm.
why should I be bothered about
Hmm.
this?
Hmm. Hmm.
I have found the meaning of being in true surrender, you know. Um, I am also more and more understanding this, that it is just this mind that plays with us all the time. But
Hmm.
otherwise, uh, it is like, I am exactly, I have always actually been, and right now it is more of an awareness that I'm exactly where I am supposed to be. Um, and I am being provided with, you know, I am being
Most
provided. So
people,
why the
actually,
fear?
most people do not even look at it this way, Nishtha, in terms of, they kind of add these small worries. I can imagine if, a person is kind of diagnosed with a kind of a disease like cancer and this stuff, but there are everyday worries that we magnify so much. And I call it the buffering of suffering, where we somehow just buffer it up so much. And we get caught up in these emotions, and you somehow seem to be so equanimous and balanced about such a big event, and being able to kind of this thing. So I don't know, I'm just trying to kind of understand, why do you think people would do that, probably in terms of buffer the suffering in some sense, and kind of amplify
I
it so much.
I don't know why we do it, actually, but for me, I think, I kept going back to everything that we used to talk about, Rohit and me, and how we used to look. we how we wanted to actually live life, but also we were not completely there, but we were trying. It was a practice, and we were really trying to achieve something in life. And things that come back, that kept coming back to me, were these: that okay, we've read a lot of spiritual books maybe, or we've heard a lot of spiritual gurus. So in terms of knowledge, we have the knowledge, but does it really reflect in my life? And am I really practicing it? Am I really living by that? And when I was going through this phase in my life, that kept coming back to me, as if, Rohit kept reminding me, this is the time, that use it, use what you know, and we know it. So this is also something that I've learned through expressive arts therapy also, that that we all have the wisdom within, and we all know what is the right answer for our problems, our issues. We all know that, and there is that wisdom within us. It is just about really reaching that place within us, connecting to it, and letting it flow through us, and allowing it, like surrendering to that wisdom and saying, okay, let that flow through me. So like I said before, I found that place of surrender. And I mean, because it is so big, what happened. And um there were probably, I was asked to, take out these big guns from somewhere within that. And yes, and just following this, and just going back to everything that we've lived together, and everything that we've talked about life and death and everything. And it just felt like this is the time. Then if I don't use it now, then how is it going to reflect as a practice in my life? Then
In fact, if I would kind of, like put a simile, or kind of or kind of draw a parallel to it, I think it's very similar to the learnings, becoming your canopy during paragliding to help you land safely in one way. Where all the learnings just became that canopy in that free flow of that emotion, which would happen falling from a height, and just kind of helping you settle through the process and maybe land safely, right? I would so connect with that kind of analogy in that sense, when, yeah, probably it just kind of was your canopy in one sense, all the preparation, all the learning, all the conversations, and so on. But yeah, so most importantly, what would you bring all of this together in Abhyantar and the work that you're doing in the expressive arts therapy? I'm more curious about how you think now you will shape Abhyantar and the workshops and the processes that you do on the expressive arts therapy. What would be that one purpose with which you will kind of drive this now?
So I feel, yeah, I've been thinking about this. There are a lot of things that feel like, more like a responsibility also. It just feels like, I also keep thinking, why am I here? Like, I had never imagined myself to be living if Rohit isn't here, and living a life without him in the physical world. Um, but probably it is also because of where I am situated, the house, the farm. Uh, I always constantly feel his presence, as if he's there, he's guiding me, and he's all around me. So then it feels like, he's giving me the strength to live this life, to be here. And And then why am I here is there should be a purpose to, why I'm here still. And then I am still exploring that purpose really. And I'm just left with this feeling that I feel somewhere responsible to do that work. um, Having said that, I also feel where I would like to take this further is bringing more of nature connected work in expressive arts also, because I see a lot of value in that, having experienced it myself. Uh, and I feel very called to share it with people, how nature can help us get through the toughest of our times, and nature and art as the tools. Um,
Interesting.
and
Yeah.
and I feel also um, called to do maybe grief work, with people, and just, if I can, just be
Mm.
of any help, and by just sharing, by um, even maybe listening, or helping people maybe to get through um, really tough times like this, and seeing, or maybe just getting in touch with their own purpose in life. Why are we still here? Why are we still dealing with certain things?
That's so beautiful that, yeah, you say this in terms of, helping people find really who they are. And I think that itself would be a work of a lifetime, which is so beautiful to help people if they're only able to tap into this process of who they are, and through nature and arts together, and living in the laps of Himalayas, and in this vicinity of an organic farm mud house. What beautiful more, how much more can manifest in kind of such a beautiful space. So yeah. And I must say, Nishtha, I think you are extremely courageous, brave woman. uh, and it's just amazing to see the spirit that is coming out with so much humility, because after these learnings, there is a subtle ego, that also comes in with this process. But I sense a calm, a kind of an equanimity in your learnings, in your approach towards life. And yeah, so it just makes me ask you more, or just rather one more question, saying there are so many people wading and surfing through the storm, right, as we all know. So I don't know. So I know for a fact that you don't like to advise it, you don't like to share, but just for this once, if you had to talk to somebody and say, what is that piece of sharing that you would do, or just an advice for them to keep in mind when they are wading through the storm, because a lot of people are, and a lot of people do suffer through this process. They have emotional kind of breakdowns, they have depressions, like they have problems coming back with life, coming to terms with grief. So just when they're wading or surfing through the storm, what is that one message that you would probably like to share with them, through your experience and journey? And yeah, so what do you think?
So, like you mentioned, there is no advice really, because I really believe that it is really our own unique journeys that we are on, and we ourselves, we know our answers. It's just about getting to that place. So really, advice nahi hai, but
Sure,
I would rather like to share something that I came across,
please.
and maybe read a little passage, which I find very, very helpful. I just came across this yesterday,
No, and please do send
and
it to us so that we'll also post it on as an attachment to this video, because I think this is going to be useful for all. So please go, Tisha.
okay. Um, 1 minute. Let's find. Yeah. So This is basically a passage from Susan Freibert's new poetry collection, which is called Look to the Clearing, Poems of Encouragement. This passage is called Openings. So you're not slipping through the cracks, but falling into openings. That certain person, a remarkable thing, the sudden event, a season of hardship, being diagnosed, falling in and out of love, an intense phase of feeling lost, or the death that stopped the clocks and shook your world. Something dropped you to your knees, only to pick you up again and thrust you into an unexpected entrance of a life-changing opening. An opening where everyday existence and the core of your being collapse into one, and nothing feels the same again. You're not being neglected, not being ignored. Instead, a great spirit speaks to you. A conversation between this source and your soul is significant and ongoing. And it has always been. But you can hear it much clearer since passing through the opening. Listen as it reveals. The strength of your connection is just as powerful as the sun. You are awesomely comprised of wisdom and creation. You're not alone. You're not all alone, but guided by intuition. Thank you.
This is just so powerful. I'm surprised this should have been the opening than the closing, because this is the opening in the true sense of, and this is so amazing. So please do share it with us, whenever you can. And I'm really short of words. I think because we are so honored and privileged to hear from a person, who's been through a journey which is really tough, and still be able to kind of, wade through the storm or surf through the storm, as we say, with equanimity, calm, balance, and just holding your centeredness and not kind of letting it go. It takes immense amount of courage just to be who you are and be true towards what's going on within and outside you. So hats off to you, Nishtha, for sharing this journey with us and sharing a part of your life. And yeah, we all do feel Rohit's presence today in kind of many ways. And so yeah, I think we're just so very grateful for this call today. And thank you so much, Nishtha, for this.
Thank you. Thank you. It, like I said, I think this is the first time that that I'm sharing something like this. Of course, I've been sharing with people I meet, and I've been talking to my people, and yes, that has been there. But this is also, I had to find a lot of courage to do this. Like I mentioned to you earlier on the call, that there is a lot of anxiousness and anxiety about sharing and coming out like this, and speaking about these things. But also at some point I have felt that it is also a responsibility, and as Rohit has always been there to push me to do things that I resist doing. He has uh, done this too, and yeah, it really felt like there was a calling that came from within, and Rohit gave it a big push to make this happen. So
No, it's amazing because I don't think we sense that amount of anxiety or this thing. I think you were, walking like a monk with this process and kind of through this, entire thing. So hats off to you again, and really very, very generous of you to share a part of your life with us. And I think, yeah, this is, this is a conversation that we'll treasure for a very, very long time. So yeah, so thank you so much, Nishtha, and great to have you here. Thank you so much. God bless you. Bye.